Hello students, in this video we are going to look at the conditional operator. It's something that you've probably seen already in your labs, but we'll be talking about it briefly so you understand how it works. The basic idea behind using a conditional operator is where you have three expressions, and depending on how the first expression is evaluated, you take the answer of that and use it to select between either expression 2 or expression 3. So in long form, what the conditional operator says is that if expression 1 is true or non-zero, in other words, then you evaluate expression 2, otherwise you evaluate expression 3. So the operator at the end of the evaluation generates either the value of expression 2 or the value of expression 3, and you can put either of these values in a box to which this whole thing can be assigned. So what we generally do is we see the conditional operator in tandem with an assignment like so. So you have A, and to A is being assigned the result of the evaluation of this conditional operator. So what C will do is it will first ask if expression 1 is non-zero or true, and if it is, then it will store the result of the evaluation of expression 2 in A. If it is false, if expression 1 is false, then it will store the result of expression 3 in A. And this can be very, very handy. The precedence of conditional operators is just above that of assignment operators, so it is not very high. And the associativity of the conditional operator goes right to left. And I will momentarily show you an example of how this can be meaningful. So let's quickly look at some examples just to get you warmed up in understanding how to speak this language. Now here in this particular expression, what we are looking at is I greater than 0? If it is, then A will be stored as 100. If it is not, then we'll store 10 in A. So you can see that there's this conditionality that we are now able to achieve with the use of the conditional operator, which is something we haven't seen before in all of the things we've done in this course. And this is going to come in very handy when we start talking about programs that have a branching structure, where depending on something, the program should either execute one condition or another condition. This sort of conditionality can be implemented with a conditional operator. It can also be implemented with other conditional statements that we will see in other videos. Let's take a look at this particular assignment. So here you have the same question being asked, is I greater than 0? And if the answer is yes, then the value 10 is stored in A. And if it is not true, then the value 5 is stored in A. And note that the RHS that is going to be emitted from this selection is going to be a float. This is going to be promoted to a float if this is stored. Let's take a particularly sophisticated example where the expression 1 has multiple operators. Now, what do you think will happen when we deal with this? So, at first sight, you might say, well, the unary operator takes precedence, so we'll evaluate the unary operator first. No, that's not the way this works. The moment C realizes that there is a conditional operator here, it will first evaluate the first term of the conditional operator, no matter how high the precedence of the operators used in the second and the third expression are, the first expression will always be evaluated first. So here we will see if a is greater than 0 and if a is less than or equal to 10. If it is, then it will choose either, well, if it is, then it will choose plus a to be evaluated. Otherwise, it will choose a divided by b to be evaluated. And whichever option is evaluated will be added to c. This is what this particular conditional operator will end up doing. It will allow us to choose between evaluating either plus a or a divided by b, and the result of this conditional operator's expression will be added to c based on this shorthand assignment. This actually means c equals c plus whatever the result of this is, and so we will get that added to c. The associativity of conditional operators, I already told you, goes from right to left. And this applies only when there is more than one conditional operator to evaluate in an expression. So when you look at a conditional operator, you always see that there are three expressions. And when I tell you that the associativity goes from right to left, don't think that it means that expression 3 is evaluated before expression 2. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that if you have a statement that looks like this, where there are multiple conditional operators to evaluate, in that case, the evaluation goes from right to left rather than from left to right. So in fact, if you tried this piece of code in your computer, you would see that this is going to find you the maximum of these three boxes. So it'll find the max out of the three numbers, this particular expression. Why? Because first we will evaluate this expression because it is the rightmost out of all the conditional operators that we are seeing in this total expression. And this is going to pick the largest off of B or C. And then this expression is going to be evaluated because it is next to the left. And here this is going to pick the biggest between A and C. And then finally, the choice of which of the winner of this competition or the winner of this competition is going to be finally picked is going to be determined by whether A is bigger than B. And so if you work this logic out, you will realize that this will pick the biggest of all numbers as the output that is going to be stored in answer. So in a nutshell, this is what